Get ready to do life and business on your terms and truly live your big ticket life. You either make excuses or you choose to level up. What amazing guests living the big ticket life. Woo! Woo! Brandon Brittingham.
Appreciate you having me here today, man.
It's that kind of discernment, that kind of focus, that kind of forward thinking that's so important if you're going to succeed in business today.
Jeff and I are like friends. We're real friends.
We are like and so you unlock fortune and freedom without all the stress that normally comes along with it.
It all comes down to your why. Your business, why are you doing it? How is it going to change the world and what's it going to do for your family?
I want you to celebrate your success.
Talk about the struggle. But I promise you, the story is in your struggle.
They'll never be able to say that about me because people only see me working hard in anything that I'm doing whenever they see me.
Focused on your success and the success of those around you.
But being that constant in your community, good or bad, whether things are great in the community, bad in the community, who's steady?
Unapologetically do business and life on your terms and truly live your big ticket life. What amazing guests living the big ticket life. And we discuss how they do it and the big ticket methods they use. The things that make your life successful so you do life and business on your terms.
In and of itself, the only limitations that we really have on ourselves is the ones that we allow to be put on ourselves. And most people don't look at it in that perspective.
There's nothing wrong with being humble, but there's also nothing wrong with stepping into your superpower and letting people know who you are.
Get ready to do life and business on your terms and truly live your big ticket life. All right. Well, welcome to another great episode of the Big Ticket Life. I'm happy, honored to have Karla Singson on the show with us this week. So she's had a PR marketing company that did like big store openings for big names like Sony. She'll tell us more about that. Karla's got a franchise in the Philippines, which I want to really dig into because I love the leverage and scale that comes from franchising. So that's very cool. But she's now dialing into us living the laptop lifestyle from Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Karla, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for having me. And I'm super excited to share my journey.
Yeah. So what's your favorite thing about Playa del Carmen?
Well, I would say if I can boil it down to like one thing, my favorite thing about Playa del Carmen would definitely be the weather. How, it's warm all year round. It's a little cool between December to April, kind of like 18 to 26 Celsius. And it's really nice out here. We get over 300 days of sun, and I live 3 blocks from the beach. So it's just perfect.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, very cool. As somebody from Pennsylvania, we get not that. I was just looking out the window. It's sunny today, but it's cold, and we don't get that. So that's very cool. What's next on the? Is there another destination on the list, or are you kind of digging the locale you're in right now?
Yeah, I definitely love it here. I've been here for 2 years, and I think I'll probably be here for a few more years or something. I have another really amazing thing about Playa del Carmen, especially after the pandemic, is a lot of entrepreneurs came here when they realized that they can just choose where to live. And there's a really good entrepreneur community here.
Oh, wow.
that I love. Yeah.
So you get to meet up with other interesting individuals and
Yeah, absolutely. I
plan.
even host parties. I host parties, dinners, potlucks. So I love that too.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Very cool. It dawns on me, we're friends on Facebook, and I think I saw in your in your profile picture, you like to play poker, play card games.
Yeah. So when I was fresh out of college, this is where we start my story, I guess. Um, I had a pretty good like college resume. I actually graduated college at 19. and I graduated as the president of the debate team, and a table tennis champion. And for a college student, I thought that was a pretty stellar resume. However, when I started applying for jobs, nobody wanted to hire a teenager. They thought I would just like come
Mm.
up to work, like show up to work drunk or hungover, and they thought that it was like I was just a flight risk. So I cannot forget this. But I remember kind of this all happened in a week where I realized I got rejected by my dream like companies, which was Coca-Cola, Unilever, and I think Procter and Gamble. And I was really heartbroken. So I decided, well, I'll just do something else. So I think I got a job as a freelance writer, as a writer, not freelance writer, but a copywriter actually at an ad agency. And on the side, I started playing poker. And however, I was still 19, so I just kind of did it on Facebook. And I don't know if you guys remember when Facebook poker was big in like 2009 or something.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing.
maybe in the Philippines or in
Okay.
Asia or something, or for poker players. So Facebook poker was like a thing, and you could sell your poker chips in the online forums. So I would play poker on Facebook, and as a side gig, I would sell like 1 million Facebook poker chips for like $10 or something. I forgot. Became my side gig, so I got better at poker. And when I was 21, I started playing in casinos, and then I started making more money in poker than my day job. So I never had a job after that. So poker actually paved my way to entrepreneurship. I never really said that out loud.
That's
So from
very
time to time,
interesting.
I still play. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's very interesting. So, did you, before I asked what I was going to ask, so really, what you were doing, like Facebook poker chips, was that maybe early digital currency example?
No, it was kind of like you. So you buy them on. So playing Facebook poker was free, and however, when people run out of chips, they want to keep playing. They have to buy it from Facebook. It was just I was winning a lot, and I
Mm.
play poker every day. So obviously, I'm not saying I'm this amazing like poker player, but if you do something every day, obviously you'll get so good at it, right? So it was all that I did every day, and I started getting good at it. And then I would sell my poker chips because you can pass your poker chips to another Facebook user. I was selling them
Uh,
basically at a cheaper price that Facebook was selling poker chips.
Love it. Love it.
It's just
I
a
like that a
hustle.
lot. Yeah, I like that. So, what was the biggest hand you ever won where you bluffed your way to the win?
Oh, actually, I do this a lot. So I would raise aggressively on draws. So I would raise aggressively, mostly for flush draws. If I have a flush draw on the flop, I would just raise aggressively and make people think I have like a top pair. And then it would either scare them enough to leave before my draw arrives, so I win,
Mhm.
or it would they would be also really brave because maybe they have a good hand or they want to outbluff me and they will stay. So I would have to bet that my flush arrives on the river and the turn, or I just lose big. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, do you mind sharing what was your biggest win? Like single hand biggest win?
I
Do you
don't do
recall?
cash games. Yeah, I don't do
Oh,
cash games.
okay.
Yeah, so I only play tournament because I only play for titles. And
Gotcha.
I didn't really want to gamble. I just wanted to participate in a competition. That was the thing.
I gotcha. Okay. I didn't realize there was a delineation there. I know very little about poker, so that's
Yeah.
interesting. So then what title did you hit or get that you're most proud of?
Oh gosh. Well, I was so in my city in the Philippines, Davao City. They used to have ladies' nights. It was a way that they would encourage ladies to play the tournament. So every Wednesday, ladies would get free registration, and then we play against male players, but the guys have to pay. And then so I would always win those free tournaments because the prize for those tournaments is a seat to a bigger tournament. So I think
Hmm.
my biggest win is winning the ladies tournament and then winning the bigger tournament. I forgot how much it was. It wasn't a lot. It was less than $1,000, which is still a lot of money in the Philippines. But I just love, I just love that part where you win in a competition.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. So obviously, we're hearing the competitive edge of that
Yeah.
Carla's got to her. So don't come at her; she'll win, right? It seems to be the vibe I get. So tell us about some of these. So the big industries turned your way, which was a good thing in the long term for your journey. Poker supplements a little bit of it, gets that start of that entrepreneurial side hustle. How do you find yourself doing these grand openings for some of the biggest name brands out there?
Yeah. So for people who did not catch that beginning part, I also own events planning and PR company in the Philippines. We do corporate openings and then feature these opening and launch events in newspapers, before, and even in radios and radio stations and blogs and then social media. But I think how that started also was I was a public speaker in college, and a lot of companies came to me to MC their events. So, and then I started MCing events too. And then I remember there was this moment where I emceed beside, and I was the co-host of this really big star in the Philippines. Literally, like I don't know who's the Jennifer Lawrence of Philippines, like a really famous actress. And we
Okay.
were co-hosting. That was a highlight of my career, and I got paid $500 for an hour of hosting, which is a lot of money. But I also thought I'm co-hosting with the biggest star in the Philippines, and this is how much I got paid. And this is probably my ceiling, so I need to make more money. I need to find a way to make more money from these events.
Mm,
And I
smart.
realized that as an MC, I had these contacts. I knew who arranged the flowers, the balloons, everyone. I knew the security, the makeup artist, like I knew them all. So I started doing small events like baby showers and all that. And then I started doing weddings, bigger weddings, and then we moved to corporate events. And I would say how that experience really helped me is it helped me learn how to launch something and how to make that launch known and make it meaningful. And I think that as entrepreneurs, it's okay to have different ideas. You don't have to, of course, focus is important, but you don't have to stay in one business forever, right? And it's okay to fall out of love of the business that you have, because who you are today is not going to be the same person in three
Right.
years. And I think what that really helped me is that now I know how to launch any business, because I've done it for small businesses. Like I've done it for this coffee shop in the corner, and I've done it to Sony. So from small to big companies, I've learned how to launch something, and I think that was the biggest win.
Yeah. Can you? And I don't want you to give away your secret sauce or your playbook, but maybe at a high level, can you share what are a handful of ingredients that make a launch really successful?
Right. So this is like boring and no one wants to do it, but we all know what we should do, right? So I think one of the most important thing is really getting to know your market, like doing market research. So for example, I with whatever business you want to launch, really getting to know who your buyers are and where do they hang out and what kind of conversations are they having. So part of my basic process for market research is finding where these people are human. And this is why I love Facebook. So I have grown my a lot of businesses just off of Facebook organic, because on Facebook people are human. On Facebook, people announce their engagements, their dogs dying, they announce their breakups, their divorces, right? Their kids graduating, they moved to a new city, they took on a new job. People share these things on Facebook. So I would say Facebook is the most human social media out there. And so you go on Facebook, you find out where your market hangs out, what groups, what kind of threads, who are they following, and then you can go to boards, forums like Reddit and Quora, people that are superhuman because of the anonymous part of it. And this is
I,
also,
I
like,
love how you say that.
yeah,
How people are superhuman because of the anonymous nature of it. So just
yeah,
expand on that for a minute, and we'll get back to what you were
yeah,
sharing.
absolutely. So the more I would really encourage people here and everyone who owns a business to find your target market on Reddit and Quora. I swear to you guys, the best copy you're going to get are the things that they say, word
Yep.
per word, because these are their real feelings. They're anonymous. They have nothing to lose. They're not having to put on a face. I mean, on Facebook, you still have to put on a face, right? But there, it's human. And then you also notice how they interact with other users. Like, for example, if the username is female on Reddit, people are usually nicer to them. If the username is usually male sounding, like, for example, like Jeff NFL fan 88 or something like that, right? So that
How'd
sounds
you know
very
my
male.
username?
That sounds very male, right? So usually people are like not as nice. If you express an opinion, I'm gonna like basically use your maleness against you, something like that. But if you're a woman, or like specifically if you have like a persona, like a mom, like for example, if my username was like Mom Life 32, like people are usually nicer to me or something.
Right,
So
right.
yeah,
And,
it's those
and for
little
those
things.
that, yeah, for those that don't know, Reddit and Quora are websites. They're online, but basically they aggregate people around topics and things of interest. So
Mhm.
NFL is one of them. More niche of a niche is Philadelphia Eagles fans. I've got my autographed football right here. I'm a massive Eagles fan. And you can really get niche specific. I'm a big fan of Reddit. I probably spend more time on there than I should, but yeah, like just to bring Carla's example home, if you're in anything finance, you need to be paying attention to the personal finance subreddit. You talk about people being human and dropping the facade. Oh my God, the horror stories that some people have, the things that people don't know, that you would think is common knowledge for an adult. Like, how do you not know what payroll taxes are?
Yeah,
These are
yeah.
things like, so you get some really great intel. So, launching an event, know your audience, tap into Facebook, use groups, which is kind of a more not as anonymous, little more gated way of getting to
Yeah.
know people, using Reddit, using Quora. What's next?
Yeah. So, and then I think after that, when you really know what they want and what excites them, tap into the thing that excites them. So, I've had really big clients come to me. One of the biggest launches I've done was for Qatar Airways, which is one
Wow.
of the best airlines in the world. And I launched a route to Doha, and we had to do this big event, really big event. And then what do you say when like the head of marketing of Qatar Airways comes to you and literally asks you, "So what should we do to get people talking?" Or and then how can you suggest something that Air Asia and other airlines have not done before? And having that also match the brand of Qatar Airways. So these things, if I had now, I would say I'm better at marketing now because I read books, I follow people, and I continue to learn. And that Qatar Airways event was 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So we were able to build a plan. They were really happy. Everything was awesome. But I would say if I could do it all over again, I would probably think of a way better idea if I did the market research that I just shared with you. So
Right.
yeah, what we did for that is in the part that what excites them, we featured this Philippine dance group called Jabberwockies. I think they're famous. They won like a talent show, I think, in the USA.
Yeah, they have. I think they still have a show in Las Vegas.
Yeah, yeah. So we hired
Yeah,
them to produce
wow,
a custom presentation about flying to Doha or something. So that was nice.
that's very cool. So the route was from the Philippines to Doha, Qatar.
Yes, it was
Yeah,
Davao to Doha. Yeah,
wow, very cool, very cool. Well, yeah, and obviously you would maybe Jabberwockies would still be a part of it because that's obviously a proud moment for
mm,
Filipino people, right?
hmm,
You see your people go succeed on a world stage. That's great. Um,
absolutely.
but yeah, obviously you would have a different idea, a more evolved idea after 5 years of being a student. And I think that's the thing a lot of business owners forget is that you should always remain a student. No matter the level of success you achieve, you should always be learning. If there's not, I mean, in this day and age, if there's not a new book hitting your front door at least once every 10 days, now I'm a big believer in Main Street business, but I do shop on Amazon for books. So that's that. Because in my area, it's just Barnes and Noble and Amazon. That's all there is.
Yeah,
We don't have any more independent bookstores, unfortunately. But if you're not getting some new information via a book or a Kindle download or something at least once a week, once every 10 days, you really should put that into your mix. What excites you? What things do you do to keep that learning machine going for yourself?
well, I'm really, really lucky that my dad has turned me on to reading very early. In fact, I have like a little prince tattoo on my back because it's the first book I read, and it
Oh,
started my
neat.
love for reading. So I know most people don't like reading and don't like the activity of reading, and so they try to find their way around it with Audible or downloading Cliff Notes. So that's great
Right.
too. But I genuinely love reading, so I'm happy to just read. Like if you tell me like sit down and read for an hour, I'm like thank you, like that's a treat. But to your question of how do you keep the fire of learning going, I genuinely think there is an innate like achievement in knowing things before others knew it. So that's a little narcissistic. But I mean, I won't deny I mean, if you're the cool guy who introduced Avril Lavigne before Avril Lavigne became big, aren't you like this coolest person in a friend group, right?
Yep.
So anyway, me
There's
saying Avril Lavigne shows my age. So
I'm right. Hey, I'm there with you. Yeah, I've got somebody in my network whose claim to fame is discovering and bringing Taylor Swift forward.
yeah,
So yeah, those
very
things exist. So you like being an early adopter is what I'm. You kind of look for that position. Is that
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I kind of like that, but also it also balances out with knowing the right things and then being able to use it properly. So not rushing something as well, just for the mere fact of being first. Like for example, 2 years ago, I started a copywriting division that used Jasper. This is 2 years ago. So I
Hmm.
was already dabbling in like AI copywriting. I learned a lot of things. I took courses. I had a mentor, and I opened a new division in my outsourcing company for AI empowered copywriters. And just remember how hard it was to sell it because people are like, "You're
Oh
gonna have
yeah.
AI write our copy?" They're like, "No, I wanna hire real copywriters." What kind of writers are you hiring, Carla? Oh, they're from the Philippines. Like, what's their English like? Are they gonna write copy or just blog posts? So I had those conversations with my clients, and now AI is everywhere. Everyone's throwing parties for Chat GPT, but
Hmm.
it kind of I'm not gonna deny it. Kind of made me feel kind of good that I'm like, yeah, yeah. 2 years ago, I was already doing Jasper. My VAs are trained for it. Like, let's go.
Yeah. You. I know because one of the masterminds I'm a part of has a big focus on copywriting, and you were the public enemy number one If because like copywriters, it is an art form, but it is also a selling art. It is also an art of human connection and personalization. Um, and there's a belief within copywriting, the copywriting world, that like there has to be suffering. You have to go through the paces and spend weeks on a project and on a package and toil over every single word. And all of that can be true, but blending that knowledge base, that research, and really so much of copywriting is research, which we've already
Mm-hmm.
touched on. So if
Mm-hmm.
you've done the research, you then know the right questions to ask. And in the case of AI, the smarter question you ask, the better output of an article or a letter, a blog, a chapter of a book, whatever comes out, right? Is that a fair statement?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Like
Yeah.
it will not phase out copywriters. It will make copywriters more efficient, and it will
Right.
supercharge your copywriter. And I would say, if I'm going to, so I've written copy, I also kind of like identify as a copywriter. I've written, the only job I was able to keep for more than 6 months was a copywriter at an ad agency. And I used
Mm-hmm.
to write copy for radio ads, TV ads, and like newspaper press releases, like really old school. Again, I'm showing my age. But um, if there is one out of the box like tip that I could share with copywriters, it's learn how to write poetry. It's kind of like not a really common advice, but if you think about it, like poetry says a lot with the least amount of words. When you read like really good poetry, you feel things, right? You feel things, you cry, you mourn, you just, all these feelings come out. And I think making feelings come out is a copywriter's goal. And sure, you can learn like a format on how to write a VSL or an easy plug and play sales page, fill in the blanks thing.
Mm-hmm.
But without getting that emotion out, it's going to be very hard to convince people to take action or to feel that thing before they take action that makes the action come with conviction. So I have realized this a while ago because I was a hippie and I used to go to slam poetry events. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. If I could just do that with my copy, I could be so much better.
Yeah.
So that's also one thing I never stop learning from. I buy poetry books. I literally sign up to poetry workshops with some of the most famous poets in the world right now. And I see actually a couple of really good copywriters, famous copywriters that are sharing poetry, and they're also studying poetry like now. So I'm happy to also see that.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we went kind of deep there on copywriting. So if you're listening to this as a business owner and you weren't even sure what copywriting was,
Yeah.
listen to what Carla said. It's about that emotional connection. That's selling. So if
Hmm.
you're just presenting the feature of what you do, the nuts and bolts of it, the specifications, get away from that as fast as possible and connect to that outcome benefit reward that your customer gets from you. Take that away from what we just touched on, and you'll see an immediate turn in your business. Because look, people have the internet to look up the features. And if you're going to try to
Hmm.
win on feature, there's always going to be some other solution that's got better features. It's just
Hmm.
it's the nature of things. Things improve over time. So unless you're improving with the pace at which the world is improving, you're losing because everybody's got access to the world now. So
Absolutely.
we have to connect on a more emotional, benefit driven level. That's really smart. I really like that we got to that point in our conversation. Something else that I find very interesting about you, you're you're a franchisor. You have a flower shop that you franchised. So that's very cool to me because for me, a little inside knowledge of me, I'm a very limited government kind of individual. Okay, so anytime business begins to that I own or consult to or sit on a board for, I almost got off a board position because I was so hard against what I'm about to say. Anytime a business gets down the road of, in the States here, SEC, FTC, regulatory controls, I'll shy away. I just don't. I see that as a hurdle, not a help. So for me, franchising is a no go. Like, I'm just not going to have a business where I have to do that. Maybe it's different in the Philippines versus here as far as regulation goes. But I still respect franchising for the power that it is for a business, because it means what you've done is successful, it's scalable, and it's repeatable. And it provides massive value for somebody like you that owns it. And it provides value for those that come in because you're showing them a path. So tell us about this flower shop that you franchised.
Yeah. So in 2007, I was still in college, and I was going to these debate tournaments, and we were poor. So my parents were like, we don't have money to send you to these competitions. You have to pay for like a plane fare and or a bus fare to go to these competitions and the registration for the competitions. So I had to find another way to make more money. And I just kind of sat with myself and thought, what is an item that people pay for and that they have accepted to be overpriced? And I realized flowers. So as a guy, you know this, Jeff. You go to Walmart, a bunch of flowers is
Mm-hmm.
$13. But if you get them delivered to your wife or your girlfriend, um, it's $50. And you just kind of
Mm-hmm.
accepted that. You just kind of give
Mm-hmm.
your card and accepted that it is four times the price now. And nobody questions that. And hopefully no one will. And and
Well,
someone's
I mean,
gonna
listen, it's this bottle of water is, I buy, you buy a case of 40 of these here at
yeah,
my grocery store for like $5.
yeah,
So what is that? That's less than 10 cents a piece, right?
yes,
Is that
exactly.
math right? So, but you get one of these at the airport, it's $4. So
Yeah,
yeah, no shame in that game. So
yeah,
you decide flowers is the path
yeah,
for my debate success.
yeah. It's so funny because I was so young, right? I didn't even have a bank account. So I would actually tell my clients to Western Union me the money, and then I would get the money. It sounded like a scam. A Western Union, and then I would deliver the flowers. I would arrange the flowers. I went to YouTube, like how to arrange flowers, and then I would deliver them myself. And obviously, along the way, I started to actually love the business. It's very relaxing. Like, you should see, like in my house right now, I always have fresh flowers, and they're like in a different
Mhm.
arrangement every week. And my boyfriend like loves it. But along the way, I just started to take that more seriously. I think on our third year, we were able to get an office. And then the year after that, we were able to get a window display office. And then 2013, 4 years after that, honestly, I felt like I just needed money. And I wrote an offer to my Facebook following that I'm going to sell a business in a box. And I targeted kind of like stay-at-home moms
Mhm.
and moms who want to make more money, just being at home and having that flexibility. And I think my first franchise, I sold it for, it wasn't technically a franchise, like legally it's not a franchise, like on paper
Right.
it's kind of like a business in a box or a dealership, so it's a dealership. and
Right.
um and the first one that I sold was $1,000, I think. And it was like 8 videos of me telling them how to start a business, and then like 5 tutorial videos of how to arrange flowers, and some of the mixed media bouquets that we did. And then we gave them our ad copy, like how to run ads, and we taught them how to just the marketing part of it, sponsor beauty contests, give flowers to politicians, whatever, how to grow their business. And then we track the ROI of these people, and then we were successful with like the first three people who just believed in me and had money to invest. And so we kept raising the price and track ROI. So right now the business in a box is $5,000, and we have no dealer that didn't ROI within the first 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's easy to start. We'll give you everything, and you get your money back, or basic like the soonest the this really really motivated dealer even made his money back in 2 weeks, which was crazy, amazing. But he just had a lot of contacts that he could sell to, so that was a really good success story. So I would say, if I can take away something from that, like franchising or selling dealerships is not for everyone, but there is always a benefit of systematizing your processes, documenting them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of benefit to that. Like it's easy to hire and replace someone. You can franchise or sell it. You can get out of your business, or you can exit. So
Yeah.
all of those options are available.
Yeah. Sounds to me like what you've done is what I do. One of my income streams is licensing the marketing materials that
Mm,
I've created for the one business. Kind of sounds like that's the place that you've gone with it, which is also very smart. It's it's like the last step here in the States before being a full blown franchise.
right.
Just kind of allows you to operate the way you want, without using the word franchise. I always tell people,
Yes.
you're not franchising anything, because here, when you start using that word and it's not set up legit, you can end up in some hot water pretty quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that how you broke that down with the business in a box. Very smart. So you've been on this. So we've kind of set forth that you're an early adopter, right? So you've been on this with poker. You were on this with flowers and outsourcing, and even with AI and copywriting. And really, the undertone here is you want reward and you want to scale your time.
Yes.
And not coincidentally, you've landed on what you call managed outsourcing. You have that as a company, and I'm a big fan of this. I have a couple folks that I call VAs. I think you call that too, but I love your name, managed outsourcing. Um, so this is a business. I think, is this relatively newer for you? The
Um,
outsourcing.
yeah, my first outsourcing company was I started it in 2017,
Okay, so
and
not all that new.
yeah,
That's 5 years
so
already.
yeah, but that evolved. Like I had another company that I started in 2020, and then I retired my shares on that company, and then now I'm back to that original business and growing it, and adding things, and just growing that.
Yeah. So I literally, and I actually just shared your name with the person I'm going to reference here as somebody that is in this field and does offer these services of virtual assistants and managed outsourcing. Um, so his concern was letting go. I just don't think anybody's going to do it as good as me. And what would you say to that statement? Because I think that's not just the friend I was talking to. I think that's the control and the holding on to tasks and being able to see it get done and have direct involvement. That's a common thread through many business owners, as I see it. Would you agree with that statement?
Absolutely. So it's not a simple issue, and this is why I love being in the sales part of my business, because I get to talk to people on a daily basis, and well, less now. I have a sales team, but like even my friends, if my friend would like hit me up and like, hey, can I buy you lunch, and just I want to work through this issue. I had a lot of trouble letting go, and it's actually like two. I would. There's a lot of reasons, but I would mention two. Two of the most common reasons why a lot of entrepreneurs find it hard to delegate and let go, quote unquote, is number one, they actually have an inner feeling of unworthiness. And
Mm,
when we were growing up, especially if you grew up poor, which is like most people, we have to remember most people are poor. When we grew up poor, we are always inundated by these thoughts and ideas and principles about hard work, like money doesn't grow on trees, and he don't date him, he is out of your league. Or are you really going to wear that because it doesn't really fit your body type? So these conversations of unworthiness are around us, and when that stays in our bodies, it makes us think that we are unworthy of help, that we are unworthy of support, that we are unworthy of the growth that our business should have. And even though you listen to Tony Robbins every day and Jordan Peterson and whatever, it's hard to, unless you like go to therapy and do like somatic work, or you do a lot of like things to really get that out of your system, it's going to live there. And that is what's stopping a lot of people from letting go, not just in business, but like not like nagging their husband, or me as an eldest child thinking that my younger siblings are not responsible enough. Like we still have these thoughts sometimes in our heads. So
Right.
that would be number one. So I would definitely say like,
That's a very, very
yeah,
important point that
yeah.
everybody should listen to and kind of hit the 10-second backward button a couple times on that in the show or on your player, wherever you're listening to this. That's a very important point. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, absolutely. And so that feeling of unworthiness, whatever you can do to kind of police that or heal it, whatever your methods are, meditation, eating better, cooking your own food, learning about your hormones, what makes you feel good. So whatever your journey is, as long as you're working on it, I would say that is a good step towards feeling ready to let go of the things in your business. Number two, and this is something that I actually just discovered lately. I was talking to a friend of mine who has a really successful website, and but she was so overwhelmed, and it's so hard for her to let go. Really, we've been talking for months. And in that day, we were like, let's fix this. We sat for 2 hours, and literally, I'm like a therapist. Like I kind of just kept asking her questions, kept bringing things out. And you know what I discovered is a lot of entrepreneurs, when they are not doing anything in their business, they feel useless. And
Mm,
being that person, that most useful person in their company, they're so tethered to that identity that if they're not doing anything for their business, their life has no meaning. It's crazy. It's so crazy. And so when I uncovered that, she was always like, I've been doing this for 13 years. I'm so tired. And it's just me. It's just me. I have like 10 freelancers, but it's so difficult, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, why didn't you work on it? Like, it's really hard to uncover it. So I just kept asking her questions. And then I asked her, so do you feel like if you're not doing anything, you're not being useful? And then you kind of lose meaning. And then she realized like, oh my gosh, like that's it. And then she, you know, her eyes swelled up, and that's when she realized that that's what's stopping her.
mm.
She's so close to her business, she made it her identity.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's easy to do for everybody because, you know, you start with an idea that's typically rooted in a passion, a hobby, a
Mm-hmm.
suggestion. You'd be really good at this from people you care about. And then you start it that way. And then, a lot of people, it just remains that passion project. But for most, it turns into a real business, but it does become their identity. So through leveraging people, which is what you do through virtual assistants. Um, how do you get people to kind of unhinge from that? I have to be doing the work. I have to be working in the business. How do you get them to that on position where they're always working on the business and they've got a team of people around them? And what does it look like when that team is outsourced?
Yeah. So I usually start with talking to my client on what their ideal day looks like. Because I don't want to take that thing from them that they like doing in their business. Like,
Right.
for example, for me right now, it's easy for me to like play golf at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, or go to the spa anytime, or do groceries at 9 a.m. on a Thursday. And this is my ideal life. But I also like writing copy. I love writing copy for my business, and I insist on doing that. And so I just kind of keep that as my space to thrive. And so that's my ideal day. That's my ideal life. That's my ideal week. And I'm pretty extroverted. I like going out with my friends. I love meeting new people. And so I start with my ideal life, then everything else should adjust according to that. So I tell my clients that what is your ideal life? And then let's make your business abide by that. It shouldn't be the
Yeah.
other way around.
Yeah. I'd like to say around here, it's very important to do life and business on your terms. And you're echoing that with the way that you help people. So as we look to kind of wrap up our time, what have been some big home runs that you've helped your clients achieve through outsourcing?
So I'm happy to share that the biggest home runs that I've achieved with my clients through outsourcing is really being able to get to their ideal lifestyle. I've had so many, for example, girlfriends that would just tell me, "I wish I had your life. You're always shopping. You're always out. You're going to the spa. You're doing this." Like, yeah, it's not impossible. Like, you can do it, and then I kind of help them with that. Because after a person is comfortable, joyous, and peaceful, it's so easy to make the money decisions. Warren Buffett said the only job of a CEO is to make good decisions. And if a
Mm,
CEO makes 10 good decisions in a year, the business will be in a right spot. So, really, our job here is how can we build systems around your company? And we don't just like plug and play a virtual assistant. We actually put a lot of work in the onboarding and documenting the processes in the beginning. And that's where the magic happens because now they're not doing it alone, or even if they have a business development person in their company, we will see blind spots that they won't see being an outsider. So we help them with that. And it's a win win for everyone because when we've perfected that system, the VA has an easier time plugging into their program and their company, and they have an easier time onboarding the VA, and then everyone wins. So I would say being able to give peace of mind, joy, more free time, and anything that helps business owners make better decisions is the biggest win in outsourcing.
yeah.
That's when you get this big idea, when you get this big like offer idea or whatever, it really makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've not heard that Warren Buffett quote, but I love it that the role of a CEO is to make good decisions. Um, Not make decisions based on emotional response, not make decisions based on the fact that, your employees today seem to revolt against you, not that your vendors failed you, like just make good decisions. And a good decision is always easily identified and recognized and respected. And then all of that other good stuff around the ideal lifestyle you want to live comes from it. What a great
Absolutely.
spot to wrap. Yeah, great spot to wrap up. Make good decisions, people. Carla said it through Warren Buffett, inspired by Warren Buffett. Carla, this has been a lot of fun. Where do people get a hold of you? What's the best place to get in contact with you?
Yeah, so you can easily find me on Facebook where I'm most human. Look
I
for
love that too.
Karla Singson. Yeah, Karla Singson on Facebook. Just a little warning, it's not always safe for work, the things that I post, but I'm sure your dad will love my memes. So um, we can chat on Facebook, and I'm also on Instagram, Carla Stefan. And if you need any advice, just hit me up. I do office hours, but better. I do 3 hours every week to just talk to people individually to work through their team management, leadership issues, outsourcing issues, whatever that they need help with. It's absolutely free. And even if you are thinking of outsourcing but not sure, or even if you have a remote team and you need help in managing them, I do this office hours for everyone. So just send me a message and my team will get back to you with my calendar.
Awesome. And we'll have all of Carla's social handles and websites. You've also got proximityplacements.com. That's still a good place for people to connect with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Check us out
Perfect.
on what we do with outsourcing so that we can help you make better decisions. Proximityplacements.com.
Yeah. So we'll have that in the show notes, wherever you're listening to this. If you're watching it, it's always pays to watch this show because you get to meet my guests in a more human way. I love that phrase. I'm going to use that. Hope that's all right. You get to see them, how they interact and speak. And You always learn more when you can take in a couple different sensory experiences. So watch it on video, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. We'll have all the notes, all the ways to get a hold of Karla. That's an amazing thing. You give back to people 3 hours a week of office hours to just talk. That's really smart. I like that. I'm going to see if I can't put that into how I operate as well. I like that a lot. So Karla, man, this has been a joy. Really, really had fun having you on the show. Thanks for giving your time to my listeners. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Jeff. You're an awesome host. You have a great community out here, and I'm thrilled. And it's been my honor to be here with you.
Well, thank you so much. And we'll see everybody else next week on The Big Ticket Life. Take care. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode of The Big Ticket Life. You've heard from another amazing guest living their own big ticket life, and now it's time to live yours. First, I'd love for you to take me up on my free gift to you. Claim your gift at gift.thebigticketlife.live. That's gift.thebigticketlife.live. See, all your life you've been told what is and what isn't possible by the loudest voices from the cheapest seats. It's time to finally do life and business on your terms. Sure, you've heard similar things, but without clarity on what can be done, it's easy to have your customers, employees, maybe even partners, and your spouse keep you from truly living a big ticket life. My big ticket methods shift you into that investor seat in your business, away from commodity and away from competition, into a market of one, so you can finally live your own big ticket life. So my gift to you is for you to book your discovery call today, where we'll uncover first the Chivo behaviors, those chief everything officer behaviors that hold you back, and why moving into the investor seat in your own business is critical. 2, we'll uncover the premium position that's up for grabs right now in your market that you're missing out on. And 3, which big ticket methodologies are just waiting to be dropped into your business to explode your sales and profits. So again, thanks for listening to this episode. I'd love for you to take action right now. Accept this gift, book your call, go to gift.thebigticketlife.live. Again, that's gift.thebigticketlife.live.